and you always go into hoping that your team's going to win. But to win that way and to do it the way that they did it was just absolutely amazing. And I mean, it was just everything you could have ever asked for as a Ranger fan. I mean, from the Jacob Trouba hit on Seth Jarvis that basically, set the tone for the game, to Chris Kreider having 2 goals, to Adam Fox just doing what, he has become known to do, and that is come up with big goals and big points and has added more points at this point than any other defenseman in history, the way he's played. I don't know what else to tell you. Mika Zibanejad was a man shot out of a cannon last night. So was Philip Hedl. The great thing about last night, a couple nuances about this game. There weren't a lot of turnovers by the Rangers. The cross ice, mid neutral zone cross ice passing and that kind of stuff was not evident last night. It was really straight ahead hockey, and because of the aggressive nature of the Hurricanes, it's like, let's get it out, flip it out, flip it out, flip it out, and you're going to get some odd man rushes, and you're going to be able to, take on either Antti Raanta or their third goalie, which ultimately ended up replacing Antti Raanta. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but the fact is that they came out and did something that, was pretty damn remarkable and pretty damn special. I mean, because you're beating a team on their home ice that hadn't lost at all this year on a home ice in the playoffs. Very difficult building to play, and that's all anybody talks about. And they did it. Nothing's ever easy, but the way they did it and how physical they were and how many shots they blocked themselves that did not get to Igor. So I think they blocked about 25 to 27 shots.
And still the shot discrepancy was in the Hurricanes' favor.
Well, it's like 34 to 31. But
for most of the game, that changed toward the end. But at the end of the first period, oh, man, I felt like they were blocking a lot of shots. They still got a lot through, which meant Igor was doing an amazing job.
Yeah, well, he made a couple unbelievable saves early in the game to keep the team in the game and frustrate the opposing, the opponent that they were playing. Even Mark Messier said at the end of the first period, 17 shots on goal, so way too many. I mean, and he's right. And, they ended up with 34, so they had 17 over the next two periods, which meant that they limited the amount of shots on goal. But, I mean, the Jacob Trouba hit was, and he's done this now twice in the last 2 series, once with Sidney Crosby and this one with Seth Jarvis, one of their bright young stars down there who was a big part of their power play. And I thought, for the most part, our power play came to life. And again, Mark Messier pointed out Brady Shea out of position on the Chris Kreider tip-in goal. And these are things that, we as Ranger fans saw 3 of the defenders that were playing for the Carolina Hurricanes do as Ranger defensemen. And it's one of the reasons why Jeff Gorton got rid of them. Because, they were good players. Maybe someday will be great players, but were unreliable players. And we saw that last night. And the reliable players are guys like Ryan Lindgren and Keandre Miller.
Oh, my goodness, who leaves the ice again last night. And you're thinking, how can he possibly come back? And he does again. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the season if he had 7 surgeries when this thing was over.
Well, I mean, there's something wrong with pretty much everybody. Everybody's got something.
But that he's struggling through something. I mean, it's obvious.
And the other thing that was obvious last night is Barclay Goodrow. So now he's been back for game 6 and 7. And last night he had back-to-back blocks on a penalty kill.
He wins faceoffs for you, too.
Yeah, we didn't win our share. We won some faceoffs last night, but again, we lost the faceoff battle. But, really, the wings have got to help the centers. They got to go get the puck sometimes because sometimes the draw is a neutral, and then the wings have got to go get it. But I thought I didn't see any bad turnovers. Brendan Smith had a bunch of bad turnovers last night. Brady Shea was out of position a couple times. These are ex-Ranger players playing for the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Rangers took advantage of that. And, that's why I think, we all felt like, wait a minute, timeout. Carolina's a good team. Even though they had 116 points, and at the end of the year, they came into Madison Square Garden twice and took 2 games from the Rangers, which ultimately gave them home ice advantage in this series. The Rangers, when their backs were against the wall, against Pittsburgh and against Carolina, they responded. I mean, and Igor Shesterkin had a Game 7 legacy game. That's a legacy game. That's a Henrik Lundqvist, Mike Richter legacy-type game, Eddie Jockman legacy-type game. And look, it just goes to show you how hard it is to win this championship. Because I don't know who said, maybe Ray Ferraro said it last night. He's like, damn, whoever wins this game is only halfway through.
Yeah, so think about it. So they had 3 elimination games in round 1 and 2 elimination games in round
and
2.
who showed up in these elimination games? Mika, Kreider, Panarin, Fox.
Yep, absolutely. And guys that you were, especially Panarin and Zibanejad, that you were calling for earlier in the series. 3 assists for Mika last night.
Mika's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I saw an article, I think, I don't know if it was Brooksy wrote it or Larry Brooksy wrote it or somebody wrote it about how, somebody wrote it, maybe David Off or I forget who it was, talking about how, this is a defining moment for Mika Zibanejad. He's one of the great all-time acquisitions by the New York Rangers. I mean, given his production since he's been here and what he's grown into. And I would truly say that, he's a number 1 center. There's no doubt in anybody's mind. I mean, he is a playmaker. He plays defense. He's on the power plays, on the penalty kill. He's a leader in every which way. He makes Kreider better. The pass last night on the power play and to read the defense the way it was and for Kreider to be able to tip it in absolutely perfectly. Those are major big time plays.
Oh, sure.
Those are ridiculous plays.
I mean, I know that he was, basically untouched Kreider to get to the front of the net, but still to be able to do that.
He was untouched because, Brady Shea was out of position.
You're right.
And those are the little things like in hockey games that you watch for. The other thing too is because Carolina is so aggressive with their defense, and you can see their forecheck once they get the puck in the zone. The Rangers are behind the net, back behind the net, back to each other, and then flip it out. And you try to flip it out thinking that you're going to get some puck luck and a little bounce here and there. And then as they're pushing as the game is going on, that there are going to be odd man rushes for the Rangers to be able to capitalize on. Kreider did it in the third period. Strome did it in the third period. I don't know how that kid stopped Strome the first time.
Oh, right. But
then he came right back and had a great shot. So, and good for Ryan Strome, too, because, we'll find out, because as we go deeper in the playoffs, the better teams you play and the more seasoned teams you play. And, of course, Tampa happens to be that. We'll talk a little bit more about Tampa tomorrow, maybe in some of the matchups. But Ryan Strome, a lot of people wondering, is he a second-line cup-winning center? And I would have to say that, the way that he has played, in these last few games, I would have to say yes. There's no way you can't say yes. But we'll see as we move on here. The Rangers don't have Nathan McKinnon. They don't have Nikita Kucherov. They don't have, Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. But what they do have collectively right now is pretty special. And I'm going to bring up something for Jerry when he comes in here. And I'm going to see what Jerry thinks about the way that somebody told me last night that something's going on. And I wonder if Jerry realizes it. And I think Jerry's probably the appropriate person to ask about it in regards to the New York Rangers.
All right, I think I know where you're going with this.
All right, but
I have an idea.
We'll see. But I have to say, for me, I had a hat trick this weekend.
You did?
I had a hat trick this weekend. And I know you went to the fight on Saturday night. I can't wait to hear about that, because they ran out of the building because everybody thought they heard shots. And I was just thinking, oh, my God, I hope Gio is okay.
Oh, trust me, when that fight ended, I was out of there, lickety-split.
All right, so I had the hat trick. I had the Rangers, winning 2 games.
Yep, Saturday and Monday.
Oh, my God, and 2 great games. Saturday night at the Madison Square Garden was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I got the University of Maryland men's lacrosse team.
That's right.
18-0, and they win the national championship by beating Cornell. I have to say, probably the greatest lacrosse team in history.
In the history of lacrosse teams.
Yeah. And this guy, John Tillman, our head coach, has been amazing since he's been there. That was an awesome performance by then. And then, of course, just to gloat a little bit, I'm a Met fan.
Yeah.
And some guy by the name of Plummer's coming out of nowhere. Now, Al thinks he's like the coolest guy around for whatever
for a
reason,
couple games, hitting 2 home runs.
Look, good for him. Good for Buck Showalter leaving him in the previous game to hit the home run.
Listen, man, they gave him number 18. So when you put on one of those numbers, Darryl Strawberry's number, you better do something special. And he certainly did. I mean, there's a great story, too, where he came from and being a first-round pick and sort of scuffling and then, getting an opportunity. And then in this big situation where the Mets are, depleted and getting
depleted. I mean, they're playing with guys that you never even heard of.
Right, I know. Which I feel like happens every year, but the difference here is they're winning as opposed to going right into a hole.
I think Buck Ball.
That's right, man. Buckball, without a doubt. So you got to be thrilled.
Oh man, I mean, it was a hat trick weekend for me, man. It was unbelievable.
I know.
And even last night, you get that 3-goal lead, and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh my God, here we go, 3-goal leads." You know, that's just the way you think. But you know, the way the Rangers were, the way that they were playing, and how under control they were.
And Igor was not going to cough up a 3-goal lead with the way that he was playing.
I know that. But you look, I'm just telling you.
The agita is there when you're a big fan.
There's agita always there in hockey because things can change in a heartbeat. And I just have to say, there's nothing I can't sit here and say. There's nothing I can say here this morning and criticize anything about anybody. The way
even
that
the coach, who you can't stand.
The way that they played in Games 6 and 7, man, they played their asses off, and the big guys showed up. You know, the big guys showed up, and there were very few errors defensively. I didn't see very many glaring errors, bad passes. Dropped in the middle of your own offensive zone or defensive zone in the middle of the ice inside the blue line. I didn't see any of that stuff. And like I said, they were blocking shots. And that Barclay Goodrow's got 2 cups in his back pocket because of his performance, with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's one of the reasons why they wanted to trade for him and get him in here and get him on the roster. And luckily, I don't know how his foot is. Most are thinking either a broken foot or a broken ankle, but he's already out there playing again. And man, he is just he gets it. He's like this kid Mott and Kopp, these 3 kids, all these guys, they get it. They know how to play. They're smart. They get the puck out. They go straight ahead. They block pucks. They know how to rag it on defense on a PK. I mean, just professional hockey players mixed in with a bunch of young kids who are really playing. This Alexei Lafreniere is playing great. He is. I don't know if he'll ever be like a true number 1 overall draft pick, but he's going to be an all-star, it looks like.
Right, and that line has been...
And Filipino's been great.
Yeah, that line's been consistently good throughout the first 2 rounds. Occasional hiccups, but mostly very, very solid. Now, I know you want to wait to talk about the Lightning, but I will say that as I've talked about the last couple of years when they faced the Islanders in the conference finals, I can't stand that team. They drive me nuts. I know that they're like your Gumar because like you love watching them and stuff, and like you.
Well, I'm not gonna love watching them now,
but and everything else. But that Dave Mishkin and the screaming and everything else, and the fact that they hid Kucherov on that thing, and they were bending
long-term IR,
and they bending the rules and everything else. I can't stand. I can't stand.
I'll tell you this. So we had to deal with Brady Shea, Brendan Smith, and Tony DeAngelo. All good players. I don't want to take anything away from them. But now it's Hedman, it's McDonough, and it's Svechnikov. You have 3 top end on all 3 pairs of defense.
Now
Hedman is ridiculous. To me, Hedman is the best defenseman in the NHL. I didn't want to get into all this just now.
Yeah.
But I know you hate them.
I can't stand them.
But, the question is...
And all we're going to hear is Dave Mishkin now for the next 2 weeks.
And they've been off for what?
If somebody cuts it.
10 days or something. I feel like they've been off for like 10 days. And, the Rangers are just going to continue to do what they do. Get on the plane.
Fresh legs or rust. One of the 2.
Oh, yeah.
One of the 2.
But I will say this, that they do have the heart of a champion, which Carolina does not have. They have goal scorers, which Carolina was supposed to have, but those guys couldn't really penetrate Igor. And they do have a real big time goalie. This is Vasilevsky is as good as it gets, and this is what Igor wants to be. He wants to be Vasilevsky, and even Igor said after last night's game that Vasilevsky is the best goalie and has played that way here as the playoffs have begun. He has been the man, and so this is. It's just another hill to climb for the young Rangers, and they're.
Listen, you got to be thrilled.
I am. I mean, you got to be beyond thrilled.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets. And then the fact that the entertainment value of a couple of series going to Game 7 and then them playing the way they did in both of those games is just. I mean, you can't ask for anything.
You know what I hope. This is what I hope. Watching the men's lacrosse over the weekend. Great. It's your school. They're playing great. They're doing, the games are unbelievable. They're so dominating. And you have the best team in the sport. So it only can be an upset.
Yeah.
Like you expect your team to win. And then, the Mets with all the injuries and all the problems, all the things going on, and Buck Showalter and them, winning 4 games over Memorial Day weekend and having the biggest division lead in their history at this point of the season. I mean, that like you expect your team to win.
Absolutely.
And then the Rangers give you a gift. They give you a gift. They play an almost perfect Game 7, and they were physical. They were blocking shots, and all the guys that Chris Drury brought in to start the season and at the trade deadline have all paid now major dividends in with whatever they do on the ice. Whether it be blocking shots, PKs, power plays, mixing in with the other players that were here. Then, of course, you can say whatever you want about Ryan Reeves. I like him, and I like the way that he plays, and I know he's not as fast as everybody else, but you got to have that presence in your lineup. You just got to have it.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.